Hello there! This is LEGO Dynasty, and today I'm bringing you my review of the LEGO Marvel The Avengers Assemble Age of Ultron. It is set number 76291, comes with 613 pieces, and is rated ages 10 and up. And this set retails in the United States for $99.99 and in Canada for $129.99. Now without further ado, let's kick off this review, starting with the box. Taking a look at the box, of course, as the box says, this is from Avengers Age of Ultron, the opening scene where the Avengers attack a Hydra outpost. So definitely really cool, and it's really one of the only times we see the main Avengers kind of together working in unison throughout the MCU, which is kind of crazy with how popular the series was, especially at that point when Avengers Age of Ultron was released. But still, obviously, a lot of nostalgia with this set, which is weird to say since the movie only came out 9 years ago, but I still feel it, and that's probably what they were going for with this set, and it's definitely really nice. You, of course, have the Infinity Saga logo with Iron Man and the Nano Gauntlet on the side, which looks really awesome here. Flipping the set around, you can see some more nice imagery of the set. Now, this is a diorama set without being a diorama set, so really the only difference is, while it has a black base, it doesn't have a quote from the film, or being slightly raised on a platform like some of the Star Wars dioramas are. So definitely LEGO is experimenting with sort of a different sort of build, because this isn't your typical playset even, as it really is, to me, meant for display. And a big selling feature is the fact you get all the main Avengers in this set and are able to display them really nicely, which the set does show. Should say that the set does have play features in the end, but it's just not the most playable playset that we've gotten in LEGO Marvel before. Now take a look at the manual. I should say that being that this set wasn't a very thick build or anything, it didn't come in a protective sleeve, cardboard sleeve, like some of the larger manuals get. But as a result, my manual actually came ripped. Minor thing, doesn't really matter. It didn't rip entirely in the book, but as you can see, a few pages were ripped in the manual, so definitely not best on presentation, I guess, but most people aren't really going to care about that. And here we have the extra pieces I was left with, along with a brick separator that was included. So as you can see, you have quite a few little of these studs that are meant for the stud shooters that the Hydra agents are using. You're given 3 of them with stud shooters, so basically allows you to, replenish them if you lose them, as well as there's also some other cannons that are in the set that also use stud shooters. So in the end, you're given quite a few of these parts here, and then also some other Technic pieces, etc., that are all nice to add to your collection for free. Take a look at our first minifigure. We have Thor here, who definitely looks pretty nice, has some great torso print, though no arm or leg printing. Also, as you can see, they're using some interesting part usage with this sort of I don't know what you call it, sort of a fire piece, but in translucent blue to reference lightning. And they have it attached so you can actually have it on him, basically it's shooting out of the hammer, which is a pretty cool effect they were able to do. And, it's not like he's holding on very lightly, he's still holding on. You don't have to worry about it falling out of his hand, so that's pretty nice. And of course, you can take it off. You don't have to have it on if you just want him to have Mjolnir here, so that's definitely a nice little thing that they managed to come up with there, which is pretty nice. The actual Thor minifigure, again, just taking a look at here, does make use of the new rubber cape rather than the typical, cloth cape that we're used to. I'm just going to say that while I liked the Doctor Strange cape that was rubber, that was introduced a couple of years ago, I don't like this, that they're going to these cape styles. I personally am not a fan. I like this one a little bit more than some of the other ones that I've recently reviewed, mostly because it's less likely to break, just because it doesn't have this fully enclosed, it can easily pop off. But just in general, I really don't like that we're going to rubber capes at this point. I don't know why LEGO thinks they need to do that. It really doesn't seem like they're, maybe this is that much cheaper than cloth, but I have to assume it isn't, so they're going out of their way to make this, and I don't think it's a good thing. Now, as you can see, easy to take off and can show off his back printing, as well as take off his hairpiece, and you can see his lightning eyes there, which looks pretty nice. If it'll focus, as you can see there, definitely pretty nice printing there, but again, really not a fan of this new cape design that they're introducing. that Loki has, etc. And I worry that it's going to be introduced in other themes. Our next minifigure is a Hydra Agent. Now you are given 3 of these, though one of them is a little bit different because he has some different sort of pieces usage on his back to represent, I guess, a jetpack or something. So I'll show that in a few moments, but they're all basically the same despite that. So you got your, nice printing on the torso there, but no arm or leg printing. Back printing looks pretty nice. You do have back head printing, but it's not a face print. It's just the rest of the helmet, I guess. So definitely an interesting design there, but definitely accurate. And overall, he does have a stud shooter weapon, which pretty easy to use. All you have to do is press on the back there, and it'll shoot out. And generally, depending on where it goes, you might lose your studs. That's why they give you so many extras that you can use there. And just to show what I mean, this is the one that has a slightly different usage of parts here. The other ones are exactly the same. I believe this is just supposed to represent some sort of jetpack here. It's just brick built, as you can see, not a special part or anything. And it's the same printing on the back, so I'm not going to bother taking it off. Also, again, has the stud shooter gun. So overall, pretty nice, but just a random inclusion. Though I do think we did see them have some jetpacks during the film. Our next minifigure is Hawkeye, and this is a great minifigure overall. He does have a new hairstyle, which I believe is brand new, or is definitely the first time we're using it for Hawkeye, and I don't like it. I preferred the older one that they were using. Definitely just think this one, I don't know, it doesn't look like his hairstyle that we see in the film. I don't know what they were going for here. I don't think it fits the character, and I think the last one they were using was actually more accurate. I don't know, it just feels like it's sticking up too high. At the end of the day, obviously you can replace that if you want, but based on what's included in the set, it's a minor thing. I don't really like it. Also, found that them using this really young looking face isn't the best either, just to represent Jeremy Renner. So again, minor thing, but just since he's much older looking, and obviously Lego can't always capture the likeness that well, but I think they could have chosen a different face print as well for him. And as you saw, he also does not have any back face printing, which is pretty interesting. Something I've seen in other themes, and it seems like Lego is starting to reduce the number of characters that get double-sided face prints. So again, something that we're getting less of that we used to get constantly. Like I believe in the past we got ones that had him with goggles, which obviously in this set wouldn't have been accurate since he doesn't wear goggles in this scene, but feel like we could have gotten a different sided face print, nevertheless, of something else. Now he does have his quiver on the back, which you can easily pop off. Just take off his bow and arrow to reveal his back printing, which looks like so. Definitely nice back printing there as well. And this is your pretty standard quiver, though I think it might be slightly different or updated. Might be brand new, but I feel like we've gotten ones like this, but this one definitely seems a little bit more detailed than what we've gotten in the past, which is pretty nice, though I could be wrong there. Our next minifigure is Black Widow, and this is a fantastic minifigure. It might be my favorite one in the set, to be honest, the detail, even though it is missing arm printing, which is a little bit disappointing, but the leg printing, even the boot printing just looks really nice. She's also given an actual Lego pistol or gun, rather than, just a stud shooter, which I definitely prefer. Personally, I wish we would get more realistic looking weapons, but I understand why they won't. Now she does have a double-sided face print, which has her a bit more angry, as you can see there. Definitely pretty nice, and you can take a look at the back printing as well, which again, looks pretty good there. Here we have Iron Man, as you can see here, looking pretty snazzy, I have to say. Love the detail on his printing. No arm printing as well. You can take off his helmet to reveal his double-sided face print. One with just a Tony Stark head, though you aren't given his hairpiece. And then one with a HUD display that probably should be one that you see off the hop. Now, of course, this is a helmet that you can open up to reveal what's underneath as well, or you can just pop it off. So definitely pretty nice there. And back printing as well, looking pretty snazzy. Our next character is the Hulk Big Fig, and this is definitely probably the main reason the set is a lot more expensive than it probably would normally be, especially if it wasn't included. This set probably would have been $10, maybe even $20 cheaper, but this figure alone does cause them to up the price just by their measures of value. Now what's nice is there is some awesome leg printing, which I don't think I really see too often on the Hulk Big Figs. Definitely looks pretty cool, I have to say. Back, pretty standard, you know, Hulk looking character here. No back face print on the big Hulk head. Of course, you do have opposability. At least you can move the arms 360 and the hands as well, but can't move the legs or torso. And our final minifigure is Captain America. Again, a very nice minifigure. No arm or leg printing, however, but does have a nice face print with the chin strap, and then one without the chin strap as well, which looks pretty nice there. Though again, you aren't given any bonus hairpiece for Steve Rogers to have, so you can have his cowl off. Does also have this piece here to connect his shield for when he is on his motorbike. That's definitely a nice feature, especially since we do see him have his shield on his back. Obviously, it wouldn't normally be sticking out this far, but that's just Lego. They also don't have the parts at this point to have it be just, you know, looking fluid like it should, but still looks pretty good. Of course, you can take that off to reveal his back printing once I get this piece off like that, which looks like that. Your pretty standard Captain America back print there, still looking pretty good. Now, before we take a look at the individual vehicles that can actually come off the set, I figured I'd show off what the set looks like with the vehicles on and in this nice display. As you can see, a really nice little mini build, and you can really see how it is sort of meant to be a diorama with the use of these parts here. You do have a nice black border around the set, and you can see some of the other nice features. You have these nice snow-covered treetops, which looks pretty fun. Adds some nice detail. Obviously, they would normally be a lot taller, especially in the film itself, but this is what LEGO managed to come up with for a smaller little build here. You have some nice damage happening to the tower here, which is pretty fun there. And all of these parts can sort of be knocked off if you wanted to, you know, reenact a battle scene. You even have this very fun ability to have the Hulk basically destroy this tower here, which is definitely a very fun feature. And overall, you can see some of the places where, with these translucent parts, where you can fit characters on. You have the Captain America bike there, along with the vehicle that Black Widow and Hawkeye were in at the start of the scene, so that's definitely really cool. You do have these nice details here with these, you know, I guess sort of anti-vehicle devices. I believe these are meant to be mines that basically are meant to prevent the vehicle from proceeding. They are definitely really nicely designed here, but they are very breakable. These parts here, they break constantly. It's kind of just the nature of how they were designed. There's nothing you can really do about it, but I find even just sometimes lightly touching it or moving the set, they will fall apart, unfortunately. So that's a little bit annoying. It was especially annoying getting this vehicle in position with these already on, just because or even, you put this vehicle on first and then you attach these, but even then I just found, you know, you try and click it in place and these parts would just fall apart, and it was just more of a hassle than it probably would like to be to place these parts on. They definitely add some nice detail though. Like I said, you have this really nice feature where you can reenact the Hulk basically destroying the tower, which is something we actually do see in the film. So you can just basically pop them down. Now, it's not going to pop off with you just dropping it. You have to actually push it down. Like if you go like that, it sort of pops up, but I find you have to actually kind of do it, and it doesn't like pop out really. Like sometimes it will, I guess, but overall you really have to like pop it down. And as you can see, like that was fun, I guess. And just showing what it looks like, you have a nice crate inside, which you could put some extra studs, I guess. You do have the stud shooter, which I haven't filled with studs, but they will shoot just like the stud shooter weapons that the Hydra Agents have. So you would just press in and then they would shoot out, and then you could refill it. Inside, as you can see, there is room for you to place a character if you wanted to, but you don't really, you aren't required to, essentially. Taking a quick look at the Captain America motorcycle here. As you see, it's a very basic design. There's nothing really to it, nothing that adds any detail to suggest that it is Captain America's motorcycle, which I actually think is somewhat accurate to what we see in the film. It wasn't like he was wearing or driving a Avengers affiliated motorcycle. It was just a regular motorcycle there, so that's accurate. Though it would have been nice if they did something to add some detail, because I definitely think they could have done something just to add. But still, pretty nice. And as you can see, you can reenact with Steve Rogers driving off as he faces against the Hydra agents there. Another main feature is this vehicle here, which, like I said, you can actually pop off and drive it. So it will move perfectly fine, just like a regular Speed Champion set on smooth surfaces. You have these parts here that you can remove if you want to have a passenger inside. So we will just put our characters here to reenact them being inside, just like that. And then we'll have Natasha Romanoff driving just like that, and good to go. And definitely looks pretty nice. It actually, I think, is pretty accurate to what we see in the actual film. Like, it wasn't a like really large Jeep, so I think they did a great job of how they designed it. It was definitely a pretty interesting build overall. You have these nice backpacks here on the side, looking pretty good there. And just some nice detail that overall adds a lot of, I guess, character to the set is the best way to put it. Like, it's a fun little Jeep build that is pretty in scale to like other Speed Champion sets. Like maybe it should be a little bit beefier, but it's not going to look super out of place, which is definitely nice compared to other LEGO vehicles. And like I said, what they suggest you do is you basically attach these parts here to represent the characters sort of flying out and fighting, which we see when they have their big sort of moment at the beginning of the film, showing them all in unison essentially. So that's definitely pretty nice, and I'll show that off when I reattach the set all together. Here you can see some more nice detail here of the tower itself, which of course you can place a character on top if you wanted to. You even have the spot here, which generally is meant to be for Thor. You can move these parts around, so if you wanted Thor to be facing a different way, you definitely can. Though I find, just based on how the other characters are facing, it makes sense to have them sort of be popping out here as they're flying through these trees here. You can see the part that I attached Iron Man to with the 3 studs to have his, sort of thrust going on there. And like I said, if you wanted to, you can easily pop these trees off if you wanted a little bit more room. You can even move this tree, though technically I think this tree should be the one to stay. But if you wanted to move some of these other trees out of the way just so you have a little bit more space, you definitely can do that. These aren't like held in super strongly or anything. So that's definitely nice as well. And overall, that's kind of it. As you can see, it's very barren underneath. There's not a lot of detail or plate work to make it look very snowy or dredged in. But with the amount of space that they had, they really wouldn't have been able to do much more. I guess they could have added a couple studs here or parts just to have a little bit more, I guess, mounds of snow essentially, because I think there was a little bit of room there. But in the end, this is what they came up with. Now just showing the bottom of the vehicle. Basically, as you can see, there's this part right here, which is where the Jeep basically sits on. So you'll just pop it in place, and you can kind of see that these parts will probably fall off as I attach this vehicle, unfortunately. So like I said, that's definitely one of my main gripes, but it's not like super important or anything. So pretty easy overall to reattach the set, though for you to get it at the right angle, you have to really kind of move it at the right spot. The Avengers Assemble Age of Ultron is to me a pretty awesome set, especially for the fact that you get all 6 main Avengers characters in the same set at a reasonable price point that is definitely inflated due to the need to include the Hulk Big Fig. That is definitely, really to me, the main reason the set is as expensive as it is. Even saying that, definitely feels like it's slightly overpriced, as the set is quite breakable. I really wish this was almost an 18+ diorama set, rather than it just being essentially a diorama set without being it, because I feel like it would have been a lot more stable. They would have had a little bit more support for the base of the set, as even just placing the characters back on for this final shot The set broke a couple times, which was kind of annoying having to rebuild it essentially. And that's just something that I feel like a larger diorama set probably wouldn't have had those issues. Yeah, it probably wouldn't have the same play functionalities. You wouldn't have had the tower, for instance, most likely. But the fact of the matter is, this is basically meant for display, in my opinion, as if a kid is going to play the set, they're going to break the set every time they try and play with it. This is a set to get your 6 Avengers characters along with 3 additional Hydra troopers, which is pretty nice, but is not a set that I recommend for full-scale play at its, which might influence your decision on whether or not to get this set. But at the end of the day, you get 6 Avengers characters, or the 6 main Avengers. You can recreate a really cool scene, place it on your shelf, and really like the look of it, and I think that definitely has value. With that being said, that's all my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on the LEGO Marvel Avengers Assemble Age of Ultron set in the comments down below. Have you guys found the set falls apart on you guys as much as it does for me? Please let me know in the comments down below. Please leave a like and subscribe if you have enjoyed, and have a great day, everyone.